Good evening, everyone. I am Miss jhon, and here with my good friend and valued colleague, Mags, live from Houston, Texas.
Yay! Happy birthday, Neil!
I welcome you all to our online premiere of Stormy the Opera, and I thank you for joining us.
I'm thrilled, scared, but thrilled.
It's important you realize that this video of the one and only preview of Stormy the Opera was made simply as a record. And the filming reflects that very modest aim. Isn't that right, dear Max?
Well, we ain't apologizing or nothing.
Afterwards, and in anticipation of a tour, the writer made some small changes and added some important scenes to reflect the monumentally changing times.
Oh, the tour was postponed.
But nevertheless, we decided, all three of us, to include some of the significant additions in this video edit, filmed separately during recent Zoom rehearsals that we hope you might find interesting.
You know, it's a little bit weird, and there's some zoomy parts, but hey, what I wanted to say first, apart from hi, especially hi, Auntie Laureen. And yes, I finally did get my ears fixed.
Oh, they turned out lovely, didn't they?
Darling, you look fabulous. I just want to let you know I am not a trained actress.
Oh, honey.
Oh, no. It must be said. I worked at the Lyric Theater in Flatonia, Texas for 37 years. Whew, that's a lot of life.
Beautiful, purposeful life.
First as a cleaner, then an usherette, then bar manageress.
Meteoric, I mean, really.
And when my then beau, tech check Randy Joe Androsco, fatally choked on a Twinkie. It's not funny. Well, I stepped in as a temporary projectionist, a prestigious and well-paid job.
That lasted 25 years.
And when the Lyric finally closed its doors, the manager, Mr. Colquitt, took me down into the vaults and whispered, "Squidge." He was cupping my face in his big hairy hands at the time. "Look around you. Take anything you desire."
In the blue, cobwebby light, our Margaretta Loveday McTush could see nothing but treasures.
We met, Miss Joni and me,
in a twinkly cantina in the old part of Bastrop, cozily nestling along the lower leafy Colorado River.
It was late summer 2019. I remember that much. Ooh, and wicked hot, like 100 degrees plus. And she was traveling with her notorious alternative carnival.
The largest tent featured 10 showgirls in a flamboyant but family-friendly burlesque show, singing, dancing, and wire walking.
Were you still wire walking?
Our way through the entire American songbook.
The smaller tents made up an alternative petting zoo with an elderly piebald horse, the usual beer-drinking goat, a small pig who could grunt the first lines of memory.
Sadly, we never made it past that heartfelt first line.
Let's see, and we had a blind armadillo, a numerate possum, an albino porcupine, and 3 exceptionally smart pink rats who refused to wear bow ties.
All esteemed and beloved company members.
Well, the goat was ornery, as I recall. Didn't take to the belt buckles, but he loved some tighty-whities.
There was also a meditation tent vaguely inspired by the Taj Mahal that led a mindfulness morning session.
Always impeccably led by your good self. My favorite, though, was the karaoke tent. Ooh, all that Bastrop beefcake, all pumped and juicy, belting out Sweet Caroline.
I am a celebrant.
Oh, I just love it when you do your thing.
Over the years, I've married folk and animals, though not to each other.
Stop it.
Received ashes and informally dabbed Avion with a dash of lime on a sweet babe's peachy forehead.
Well, there were some small puppet tents for the kiddies. Lord help us, I tried to avoid that ruckus. And happily, refreshments.
A message had been passed on to me that this woman, our beloved Mags, had in her possession objet of some cultural significance that I might be able to make use of in my shows.
And I did. I really did have objet. I had objet.
Tell them.
Magic lantern slides.
A cursory internet search would reveal most certainly the earliest ever seen in the Americas.
You know, like projection slides, except old. I mean, really, really old. You know, ancient old.
A rare record, it seems, of, excuse the F word now.
Freak show!
Oh, forgive us, dear hearts.
Featuring uncanny images of an elegantly contoured headless woman, Worm Boy, Tom Thumb's little brother, Octopus Man, and impossibly glamorous living head.
And indeed other beloved, unique, and treasured souls. And it was on the evening of that first fruitful meeting that I noticed a disheveled red-headed woman.
Sporting more rip than jeans. I mean, she wasn't wearing any panties. I can tell you that much.
Barefoot, hunched indecorously over a notebook talking.
And occasionally singing and laughing too loud.
To herself, all the while scribbling away in the corner with an almost possessed fury.
I forgot now why we told you all this stuff.
It's about how we met.
Oh, yeah.
And how our show became flesh. So I suppose it's more of a curio, this bricolage of our Stormy the Opera.
That it is not about weather or Stormy D, who we love.
And was never meant to be publicly shared at this stage.
Does the writer even know that this
event
is happening?
Wherever you are, dear one, on your own life's unique journey, if you manage to tune in, enjoy.
Enjoy.
Everyone. Written in extraordinary times.
For a hopefully reimagined future, we present...
For your delectation,
Stormy the Opera. Hairy-eared, hopping,
tongue-flicking, hooded, gimlet-eyed, bone-tailed,
swishing, buzzing, clicking, squawking,
desert horny, scraps of life are born, burrowing from the hot day sands up to their cool starry nightlife.
They come out to mate,
to hunt,
to kill. Only the gentle desert herself sleeps deep. Listen. She's coming. And as the mighty west wind pumped and oiled hard and shiny as steel
meets the breathless east, shameless in fishnets and heels,
a vortex strokes pinches and slaps the soft skin of the sand.
Which shift shapes into specters and beasts, as huge and terrible as any god's nightmare. First out of the vominous sands, the desert ghost rat.
The absent father,
What does vomitous mean again?
red-eyed,
With poison-tipped razor whiskers, leaving his one mewing rat pup
blind,
pink, furless, helpless.
to make alive till oozy and putrid.
Oh, that's gross.
And behind him, the tragic Amphibina,
Amphibina?
two-headed serpent,
Her neglectful mother, spawned from the blood of a severed Medusa.
smaller, mean, tailhead, feasting on its own expectant womb.
What audience are we going for here
And
anyway?
just behind, the Mongolian Deathway, the predatory neighbor,
An audience into worms?
Followed by a jittery sand crab, her helpless husband.
No.
Dancing
She loved
to
him.
his own deep down desert drum.
then
There's more?
Out of the blazing storm, from the desert bowels,
a foul, gaseous, rumbling,
a giant white-winged, bug-eyed basilisk.
A what?
Hatched from a growing orange cockerel.
from the stinking eggs of a fat albino toad.
Oh, I'm feeling queasy.
Its trailing red necktie, soiled by its own ancient filth, caught in the stump out of the rich, dry, powdery sand onto the boiling, rolling desert dews. Oh, basilisk, heads of justice.
What is a basilisk? Right, that's it. I'm stopping this now. House lights, hear me. Lights up! Lights up! I am sorry, and I know that you are well-intentioned. House lights. Uh-oh. And this is art and all of that, but you're definitely disappearing up your own poetic asses here. House lights up! Please.
Please, Matthew. You've got to be with me on this one.
Something else was born that night.
Well, it better be nice.
Sweet, sweet desert storm. Something soft, hopefully blonde. There are three stormy hearts.
All this, the long words, this isn't what I wanted at all.
Stormy minds.
Personally, I love all the geographical stuff because deserts are truly poetic.
Places where the human story might descend, and how it will most probably forever end.
Stormy Soul!
There are three stories.
I wanted her own words, our own words. I mean, it's a simple tale.
Simple enough.
A poor girl from a small town.
Her papa gone, her mama gone mad.
I wanted testimony. men in dirty vests, drinking shots with wrenches in their back pockets and cracks up their backs, chewing Vaughn dead cow and spitting corpuscle in the rusty old bean cans. Ooh. My skin was crazy, itching from the bed bug bites.
It was so hot, even the cockroaches wore sweatpants.
Oh, my poor old stomach was just growling. I'll never beat the band in New Orleans, I reckon. That hot and rainy night.
You want me to saddle up, bring Mama home, Miss Stormy?
Oh, horsey horse. I'm all alone and without a friend in the world. Why on earth can't folk be more like horses? I can depend on you.
I can depend on you.
You never let me down.
You never horse around.
Horsey.
You're always kind, Miss Stormy.
Has anyone ever told you that your nose feels like velvet?
Never! Never ever! No snow told me a mangy old land pick me up the ass.
2, 3, 4. I can depend on you.
I can depend on you. I know
That
if ever I was in trouble, you would rescue me. Always.
And you'll never be alone.
I will never be alone when I have you.
Then,
Hey there, sweet little girly thing. I brought something for you.
Stormy heart.
Billy Bob, you scared me coming out of the shadows of the old muddy like that.
See what I brought you?
Stormy heart is hungry. Stormy heart is sad.
Don't cry, baby girl. I got something else for you. See?
Oh my, a diamond ring? Where did you get this?
Don't you worry your pretty little head about that.
It's your white-haired old granny's, ain't it?
Well,
Now, put it back in her precious things drawer. You hear me? With her Sunday wooden leg and that napkin used by Rudy Valley in 1962. Before she misses it, it gives us both a walloping of our lives.
But I want to marry you, Stormy.
Oh, I can't marry you, Billy Bob.
Stormy heart is hungry.
I'm gonna be a star one day.
Stormy heart is mad.
Watch me dance, Billy boy. Watch me. Watch me dance.
What is all this horsey horse crap? I mean, we're not playing to 5-year-olds here. I mean, it was really humiliating wearing that hat thing. I mean, what's all this Billy Bob stuff going on?
I love that scene.
Look, it panders to an outdated populist American culture.
It was deeply moving.
Drink then. On an unwholesome diet of schmaltz. Revisionist cliches, lost worlds, and empty sentimentality.
Ooh.
masterminded my feature dances.
There are 3 Stormies.
I was an award-winning writer, director, producer. I want an in-depth analysis of the cultural significance. I want facts.
She wants facts.
I want stats.
She wants stats.
I want in-depth commission researched and verified graphs. I want my own late-night special on CNN.
She wants hard-won interviews with the rock-hard man.
And the slammer with the soul stealers, self-appointed fixer.
She wants Wolf Blitzer.
guy what takes his time. I'll go for any time. I'm a fast moving guy who likes them slow. Got no use for fancy driving. Wanna see a guy arriving low.
Miss Stormy,
Yes, Inga, honey.
5 minutes before you go on.
Oh, is it?
They are really baying for you outside this evening, Miss Stormy. There are 250 members of the Louisiana Anglers and Fish Fryers Association.
And don't tell me they ain't had a fry up in months. Oh, I was so enjoying these precious moments of quiet study and reflection under the cool rafters of the old theater props room with the golden phalluses. And the glittering, crotchless panties.
What'd you read, Miss Stormy?
Why, Only Wealth of Nations by little old Adam Smith.
Oh, and what's it about, Miss Stormy?
Capitalism.
Oh, and what is capitalism, Miss Stormy?
Oh, capitalism is wonderful, Inga. Well, you can get very successful in business, make a whole ton of money, hire yourself a fine lawyer man, and fiddle-dee-dee. You don't even have to pay no tax.
Talking to dollars?
Who's talking to dollars?
You didn't pay me my salary this month, Miss Stormy.
Oh, Inga, what have you done with that $10 I paid you last month?
Oh. Let's see now, and what is this book, Miss Stormy?
Inga, no.
Das Kapital by Karl Marx.
Oh, put it down, Inga, for pity's sake.
But my old papa loves the one with the curly hair. Oh, let's see. It says here, the means of wealth should be owned
not by
the
the
individual, but by society
as a
whole. Oh, can that possibly mean people like me?
Stormy Soul climbs the sandbags, takes dollars from her cleavage and scatters them elegantly and formally over the playing area.
Bunny, played by Stormy Mind,
digs into the rectangle of sand, searching. I can't find any, Miss Stormy.
Sister Heart is shopping.
Bread? You know,
No use trying Trader Joe's, neither.
why?
'Cause I buy my bread there, see.
And it's all gone?
A gentleman in a beautiful suit came in, offered me $100 for a couple of 5-cent burger buns. He didn't even look hungry.
Stormy Heart goes home to bake bread to give to friends. That's far enough.
This is Mongoose, born in Yaz, Australia, with a too small head and a too big everything else.
It's me. It's your old friend, Stormy.
He sits all alone at the stage door of the Dancing Bear on a padded velour green chair.
I brought bread. And for the girls, see?
Eats and sleeps there now, pissing in the fire pail.
It's warm and freshly sliced. The butter's melting.
Just toss it, thanks.
Trying hard daily not to defecate.
First thing I ate all week. First thing.
Stormy Heart moves forward to hug him.
Get back. Get back. Or I'll shoot.
Stormy Heart climbs back up to the attic, breathless on each steep step.
Alone in her casket, closed cold silence.
She phones her estranged sister in Connecticut.
It rings out.
But I know what she's doing.
And her own lost love.
Well, I never stop looking.
Then,
Finally,
Matthew, are you there? Matthew, can you help me? Matthew!
suddenly,
and quite unexpectedly,
out of the blue,
she coughs.
the hissing carpenter ants congregate worried in the curling damp attic corner. Stormy mind shut out of the Eleanor Roosevelt reading room.
Where the shelves are full of unleavened books.
At the back of the sparkling and 5-car wash.
In which she has a casual interest.
She watches her stocks and shares plummet.
With sticky eyes and a throbbing head, she tries desperately to move her money.
I can still taste it. For now, I can. And smell it. For now. At least for now.
A spider chases its own silver thread. watches and shivers.
Stormy Soul races from church to mosque to chapel to synagogue.
In the great oak door of the meeting house, with its beautiful beckoning wooden hands,
Is bolted.
she sits on a marble bench opposite the statue of Matilda Borel, the patron saint of Harbour.
The one thing I don't need is a haircut.
She runs her hand over her head. It is wet.
Beads of sweat cluster like souls on her top lip.
Her mascara runs down her cheeks.
Like stigmata.
In the pink crepe myrtle, a blue jay tries to open its broken wing to the sky.
And so our fever rages.
And so our fever rages.
We are waiting now as through a creek.
Holding up our tight, diamante, side split, white silk skirts.
On slime green mud banks, rusty metal cages.
Inside, a small brown bear whimpers like a child.
And there, a wolf cub paces.
Wild and yowling,
Next a peacock or half a live one, tortured, not caged. Squirrels.
bullfrogs,
Scorpions, cicadas, beetles,
All the small, scaly, stalking, furry.
slithering, hairy-eared, hopping,
unsticking, wooded gimlet eye, bone tail,
swishing, buzzing, clicking, squawking.
And last, strangest of all, a small, bronze, armored creature from a prehistoric fairy tale, alone in a wire basket, tied up with a child's pink spotty ribbon, gentle-eyed, troubled, twitching tuber-nosed, its long black tongue, tasting the air, trying to understand.
and suddenly, Soul realizes that she is not alone, but one of thousands, and that the cruel back and forth bartering is getting louder and louder.
And I look up, but instead of sky now, I see riveted iron rafters, and hanging on hooks, the curious orange-skinned cadavers of the wily civet cats, the barbecued corpses of the bamboo rats, The black, charred, eyeless little bats, their demon wings as funny and rubbery as in the strip mall Halloween.
And mine looks down to pet a dog, and there are 10 of them panting in a cage.
And just then, I see that we are not wading in water, not at all, but in blood.
And all around, flashing in the sudden fierce sun, are blades, stabbing and slicing the air.
And there are screams and howls and whippers. And I am naked in a cage. My skin knees bent double against my flayed forehead. My lips blue and bloody against the cage wire. And with me are the red-eyed ghost rats, the spitting two-headed serpents, the squirming death worms feasting on corpses, and trying to peck out my eyes, a crazed orange cockerel. And all the while, I hear the blackened barter of dollars and dimes. Dimes and dollars.
I can see you, Miss Stormy. You're a long way away, but I see you. I do. And I am here. I am listening now. I won't let you down. Trust me, I won't. I have it. You hear me? I won't let it go on anymore. I promise. Trust me. I'm on it. Trust me.
After the Bacillus Presidentis won the 2020 election,
The world slowly tiptoed out of its attics.
Basements, living rooms, town halls.
clawed its way out of neighborhood dugouts, and with our long black tongues, tasted the new air, trying
Breathe.
to understand, trying to understand. Life got hard for folk like me.
The feature dancing, celebrating significant moments in the history of American democracy.
George Washington quashing the Nuremberg conspiracy.
The 7 founding fathers signing the Constitution in 1787.
All live and totally nude.
Mostly dried up.
And there was no free press.
Nobody asked me to talk about Shark Week anymore. My life was pretty much a holy mess.
Then,
Then,
in 2024, the people
we the people.
were informed by Black Rim Executive Order tweet
The elections.
Free, fair,
sweet, rare,
will finally
Irrevocably.
and forever banned.
No, that can't be so. The 100 good men and women on the hill, mainly men, would never countenance such a betrayal.
The stealer of souls had pulled off the greatest heist in the history of America. He had stolen democracy itself.
What exactly is a soul?
It's immaterial, invisible, untouchable. It has no smell, no weight, no
Well,
substance.
perhaps then it doesn't exist.
It can't be bought or sold.
So, what exactly is its value?
So I went back to the old muddy, dancing for tips at the end of the world. Feature dancing for men in vests with wrenches in their pockets, kind men, it turned out, who didn't expect anything in return, except maybe on a Saturday night, a sad song.
Oh no, I ain't no sun up in the sky. Stormy weather since you and I ain't together. It keeps raining all the time, all the time. Life is bare, gloom and misery everywhere. Stormy weather, I just can't seem to keep my poor self put together. I'm weary all the time, so weary all the time.
Then, one crazy blustery night, flashing blue lights and laughing sirens, hammering at the door and smashing the glass, I was alone, sleeping on the booth couchette, covered up with some good soul's old work fleece, when my head in the ketchup and mustard tray was pulled back roughly by my hair, and I gasped.
This her? I don't look like no burlesque queen to me now.
Can you kindly pass me my purse, officer?
No president's poke neither, I reckon.
If I'm to be eminently incarcerated, I would appreciate a moment to powder my nose.
Is this her?
It's okay, Billy Bob. You can tell him I'm me. It's all right.
Now, dumbass Officer Billy Bob's poke. That Eckham will believe.
Oh, you've changed, Miss Stormy.
So have you, Billy Bob. So the night raid started. Folks woke in, dragged from their beds, and families led away in chains and kept in cages.
It felt like civilization built brick by brick through all the shining ages.
Had suddenly buffered.
The show trials of those they labeled traitor were broadcast nightly on Fox.
I loved your defiant lime green swing skirt, your pink bolero, and matching bobby sock.
And there were thousands of us. Many just vanished, becoming laminated headshots held up by tearful relatives outside the county jail. Others were made to enlist in the space army, forced to live in pods and trained to kill the future starmen. The boy girls and girl boys were led away on boats to the Dead Bird Islands as Solution Project 1 to be experimented on. I was led here.
A poor girl from a small town.
To the desert where thirst and a cruel sun would shrink the soul.
What is the soul again?
Consciousness, an essence, perception, memories.
One night so many years ago, I danced here on this very spot. For everyone I ever loved, even those I'd long forgot. last dawn came, I knew at once they'd left no footprints in the sand. I was alone and sinking fast. Love's hope was choked, and in the long forgotten past.
No, love never dies. It was just buried in the sand somewhere. You just had to dig for it. Dig for your life with your own sweet, bare hands.
I dug, and I dug and dug, until my fingernails split and bled. But the faster I dug, the harder I fell, slipping lower, lower, down into the fine, powdery sand. I finally realized that love, my search for love, was beginning to bury me alive.
And that what we had actually been digging all those long years was our own grave.
For 40 days and nights I endured my burial chamber. In the day I hunkered down to avoid getting cooked, but hallucinations born from the desert visited me. Ghost rats.
I was your daddy, and you weren't never going to be good enough for me.
Two-headed serpents.
Well, if it ain't Mommy's little girl. I never wanted no badass stripping daughter anyhow.
Death worms.
I live next door, little girl. See? I know your ma and pa. Why don't you come in?
A cockatrice President Basil.
And let me grab you by the...
And then came others. Strangers. No, familiars. Other whisperers, anyway, from the cold night air.
We're here.
Still here.
All the small, scaly, stalking.
In the cages.
Bedded on the blood of our dead brothers.
Waiting for the last fierce final cut.
We're here.
We're still here.
They tormented me. I was losing my mind. At night, the beautiful stars tiptoed to the very edge of my sepulchre as if peering down, begging me to join them. Join them. Join them and be quick.
Leave it all. Can't you?
The cruelty, the stupidity, the cruelty, the stupidity, the thunderous pleas and bloody spewed out, the thunderous pleas and bloody spewed out. It is quiet here.
What can you do anyway?
It is quiet here.
Then
I divined, or I imagined I felt something infinitesimally small from the absolute depths of the desert begin to burrow out. A thousand honeypot ants that live as secrets beneath the sand began to burrow out.
amazing little beggars. The worker ants leave the nest in search of honeydew.
They crawled between my toes,
Or nectar
up my calves,
from the few desert cacti and succulent.
my thighs, around my torso, under my armpits.
Ingest And when they return, they regurgitate the sweet fluid. So they're young, they're sick, they're old.
And as they crawled, billions of them.
To all the most vulnerable in their society.
I swear they lifted me up. Back into the light. And after the honey ants came mothers from the dead.
All the small, scaly, stalky, furry,
Slithering, hairy-eared, hopping.
tongue-flicking, hooded, gimlet-eyed, bone-tailed.
Divided, isolated, vilified.
And after them,
The marching bats.
the wide-eyed civet cats, grown fierce and bushy-tailed.
Snuffling, bamboo rats. The desert dogs.
A peacock, flayed still, but striding out now with otherworldly eyes.
The little brown bear, grown, erect, growling, sore paws bleeding still, but proudly creeping.
And then, all the skinned and bloodied scraps of humanity.
Remember me, Stormy?
Tied up tight to protect the world from our stories out of the alone.
Into the back of the big white truck. Into the alone forever.
Dipped into the parkways without even birds song.
Remember me, the dead, tired nurse.
Remembering kisses and caresses. The simple touch of skin.
Remember me, broken in war.
In the audience, always on the front row, shoving my weekly paycheck. Yes, tangled crowd.
Whistling, whooping, sweating, crying.
And me, you couldn't forget me.
The skeleton girl in the club smashed nightly, her bones rattling around the pole to ZZ Top. As her thin lips ghost the Lord's Prayer.
And me, you couldn't forget me.
The bloodshot hot waitress who's no and never got her fired.
Left her squatting under the freeway, ancient now and storyless. Dead to the days.
What of us? Are we too painful to remember?
The boys who talk and paint and pirouette back from the dead bird islands and solution project.
Inside our brains, stitched onto exploding split lips.
We chatted, Stormy. We had an iced tea in Cleveland. Remember?
The silenced kids in the back of the bus.
On concrete floors.
In the bum out, mind blown.
Shaking.
Afraid of teachers, afraid of uncles, afraid of the dark, afraid of the dark, afraid of the light. The confused.
Soldiers of guns.
And all the troubled, fractured, confused. All the disenfranchised. Brown skin, black skin, yellow skin,
Old and young women, and the old,
women and men,
homeless, heedless,
the waiting tables, those who were left alone, who themselves died alone, the young,
save us!
save us, Stormy.
Can you save us?
You save us. Can you help us?
Can you, Stormy? Can you
Help us,
save washed up burlesque queen. Look at the sky! Stormy! Can you see them? Can you see the sky? Horses!
I see them! I see them now! Horses! White horses galloping across the sky! Hooves sparking on star, cloud trail from afar, from the sea!
Here's my old friend, Horsey Horse.
I see them now. Silver tails cruising the clouds, riding freedom! I've come to rescue you, Miss Stormy. I did my promise.
Sky horses.
100 of them.
Finally landed their sweet, sparkling hooves into the soft desert sand.
Saddled and ready.
And the three Stormies together again.
And fearsome now on their resplendent steeds.
And Stormy Heart, reunited with her beloved Horsey Horse.
Led the charge back to America.
To Washington.
To the very steps of the White House itself. And she was greeted by millions.
And the people cheered her return.
Insisting free and fair elections returned to America.
And the millions became trillions.
And after 40 days and nights, all that was left for the basilisk presidentas
Was to slope away.
taking the back road back to Trumpus Mar-a-Lago is.
Allowing the promise of freedom to return to the great people of the United States of America.
Yay!
I can't lie. I was indeed looking for answers on mountaintops. You know, in between the feature dances. Searching for answers to the ancient great mysteries. What do they matter? Would they make things better? Would they find folk work, put food on the table, teach children to read, to sing? A soul can't be silenced forever. And the song they sang, the humans, the animals, the fish, the frogs, the birds, even the dragonflies, even the fire ants. It was beautiful.
Making music in the theater creates space, you know, a moment for the audience to breathe, reflect, and change positions. So what I'm saying is that its value, well, it cannot be overestimated. Of course, we move things along too. That goes without saying. We fill dead air that might otherwise attract all kinds of mischief. And we connect things. We can't forget that. And we add atmosphere, of course. Underlying sentiments. So we enhance understanding. We do all this important stuff. But it wasn't enough. It isn't enough. I mean, I tried to stay out of it all. Just do all of the above. But in the end, I couldn't have lived with myself.
Then, an unexpected turn.
I'm sorry, Inga dear. Did I hear you right?
We intend to stand, Miss Stormy, if you don't mind. We intend to stand against you in the next election to become the 46th freely elected president of the United States of America.
Matthew, the musician, ran for the presidency with Inga masterminding his campaign.
So many ideals, so little time.
And won! A landslide!
Victory for the soul of America.
As I was walking down the ribbon of highway, I looked above me, that in this valley. I looked below me, that golden valley. This land was made for you and me.
Everybody sing!
This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me.
At this defining moment, change has come to America.
It's been stormy around here lately. The rain's been pouring down. The thunder's been a-frightening.
And the lightning struck the town.
And there's them and us.
Them and us, the warm and cozy inside.
And the cold, wet, hungry, and poor scratching at the doors outside.
Outside, looking in.
And there's the martyrs and the marching and the queues for food. The sick become the dying, and the dying left this world without goodbyes.
No goodbye, Grandma.
Only lasting lonely cries.
1,000 Americans are dying a day.
They are dying. That's true. And it is what it is.
And the rich, they're getting richer, and the poor, they're losing hope, and the hate is getting stronger, and love is on the
And
roof.
time is running out.
Time is running out.
I said, time, precious time is running out.
Time is running out.
And the planet's getting hotter.
And when you're starved, they let you do it. You can do anything. Whatever you want. Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything.
It's been stormy around here lately.